Well, Mother, you are going to have a birthday real soon.
Yes.
When is that going to be?
It's going to be April the 24th.
And are you going to be a sweet 16?
No. I will be 90 years old.
90?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit of all what you used to do out at Uncle Charles's farm and all the things you were doing before you came to Kansas City?
Oh, that's a long time. Because my years in school was mostly spent in the South. And when I say South, I'm speaking of Tuskegee.
All right.
I love Tuskegee. And I did quite a few things in Tuskegee. I went to school in Tuskegee. I married in Tuskegee. Well, I came to Tuskegee, I came from Tuskegee. And, but I really married in Ohio.
You married in Ohio, okay.
Yes.
All righty.
I stayed in Tuskegee for how many years?
Oh, wow. 60. I think you were in Tuskegee for 60 years. Yes, yes. Tell me a little bit about your church work. Because when you went to Tuskegee, there was not a Seventh-day Adventist church.
No, it wasn't a Seventh-day Adventist church at that time. Well, we started meeting in a house.
Okay.
And we started having prayer meeting. And my brother said one day to Elder Jonah, he said, "Why don't you let me build you a church?" And so I thought he was playing, but he wasn't playing. And so he built our first church in Tuskegee. And they changed pastors from time to time.
That's right. That's a part of
yeah.
the church. It's a movement. So
yeah. And the other S.J. Jackson, he came, and when he said we are going to open the church this coming Sabbath, I just couldn't see how it was going to be done.
Right.
But anyway, we went into the church and fellowship there, and we had a wonderful time.
Well, beautiful. Now, in addition to your work at the church, tell us a little bit about your farming and gardening, and how many gardens did you have?
Well, my brother, he wanted me to have this land, and so it was just opposite the house. Everybody he talked to about the land, he would say, "Leave her a space for her garden." We had watermelons, we had cantaloupes, we had honeydew melon, we had corn, peas, and well, I can't think of all the stuff we had in the garden, but people would come by and we would just give them some of the vegetables that we had from the garden.
When you talk about peas and corn and watermelon and all of these things you used to grow, it sounds like that was more than a garden. It sounds like you had a field.
Well.
And so obviously you have always been very good with your hands.
Well, I was taught to do things like that from my mother. She loved the garden. And we would always go, and we'd have to wake up early in the morning and go, and my people would always let us work at home, but after we got through with our farming, we would go to the neighbor and work there.
All right, so your parents were farmers?
Yes.
Oh, and how many children did your mom and dad have? 13. Where are you in the 13?
I'm in the middle.
In the middle.
I said that because mother had 2 boys, 2 girls, and then the 5th child she lost, and then here were the 6th.
So you were the 6th?
Yeah.
All right. Mother, like I can remember you used to have the students over to eat every Sabbath, and there were a lot of students that ended up leaving and doing very well. Lee, remember he said that you took him to the jail?
Yes, I like to do the jail ministry. because they enjoyed it, and we would have them each Sabbath. And sometimes we would do scripture, and then again sometimes we would just do singing. And they had beautiful voices.
Right.
And one Sabbath we had all of them to come to the church, and really I wish you could see. It was just a line of them marching from the jail to the church.
So they were just coming to church.
They were coming to church that Sabbath, but in order for them not to run away, because they could have ran away.
Right.
And if they ran away, I was going to have to be responsible. But I don't know. I wasn't afraid they was going to slip away. I guess that's another thing. I had faith to believe those people, they want to know more about the Lord. And the people, we sang songs. They had, as I said, they had beautiful voices. And we prayed, and we had a beautiful service.
Beautiful. So tell me, how did you meet Timothy Gardner?
Oh, Timothy Gardner, he was a person that when he came to Tuskegee, when we knew anything, he was at the church door because nobody was at church that Sabbath when he was waiting for somebody to come.
So he had walked all the way from
the
campus?
Yes. And
looking for a church.
Looking for a church. And he said, somebody said, it's a church down the road. And he kept walking. And when I got to church, he was just standing up there.
Wow.
And so he stood up there, and my husband said, yeah, this is the Seventh-day Adventist church. I said, come on in. And he came on in, and he was from Detroit.
Okay. And I just thought it was amazing when you were in rehab here in Kansas City. He surprised you and got on a plane and flew from Detroit just to see you.
I thought that was nice. And my sister said the other day, I told her that I was going to send Tim over there to have prayer with her. And he did.
Oh, he went to see your sister.
Yeah, and had prayer. She said, you know, that's a wonderful person. He came and had prayer with me.
Right. So this is a relationship that has lasted
I don't know how
many years.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was away at school when he came. So that had to be in the early 70s.
Yeah.
Okay.
But now he is not only has he got a PhD degree, but he is one of the ministers at this particular church.
Yes.
And the day we went to see him, I didn't know that a lady had adopted him
as her son.
Yeah.
And you thought that you had adopted him as your son.
But when he walked in, I was sitting on the couch with this lady. He said, there's both of my moms.
Both of my mothers.
It means so much to have a relationship with people that love the Lord.
Yeah.
A lot of things they can do. And we're going to cut those off.
Okay, I'll let you cut them off. All right, so I just want to thank you for teaching me how to have a patio garden. And as we eat from these pots.
Well, that's what I was about to say. I said, Timothy, you got to come and have dinner with us when we serving these tomatoes, cabbages, and also the mint. We're going to have mint tea that day. This mint will turn... Where's my mint?
Right
here. Anyway,
the mint
here, it's going to turn green. The tea is going to turn green. And it's so pretty and it tastes, I'm sure you would like it.
In 2013, you moved here to Kansas City. I looked around to find a senior center that would utilize your skills of just using your hands. And I was able to find the Good Shepherd Center, and they call themselves Break Time.
Well, these are some of the items here that we would learn how to use our hands in the things that we had. Say for an example, her name was Cindy, and Cindy had volunteers.
Okay.
And each week we would have different volunteers, and they would come in, and whatever they brought in or whatever you worked with, you were able to take it home with you. During the week, if we get through with our project, we will always have a little time left, and they would play bingo. And these items here we could win if they, what do I say, if you are lucky, if they called your lucky number.
Yeah. Well, you know, out of everything that you've made, I think this describes the vision that you have. You don't stop dreaming. You keep dreaming big. You don't dream small. If you just think you can possibly do something, you make sure that this dream becomes real. I have where you used to go way out in rural communities when you had the various Bible story books and that kind of thing, and sometimes people didn't have running water, they didn't have electricity, but you were just determined that they would have these books. And many times they didn't even have the money for the books, but you would leave the books and you'd say, I'll come back. And you'd come back for a $5 payment, for a $15 payment. But really it wasn't about the money. It was like you were establishing relationships with these people. Can you tell us a little bit about that, how we would go way out in the rural communities?
Well, we would go way out. Well, I don't even remember which car that I was driving at that particular time. But this particular time, these people got the books, and it rained, and there was something like, well, we call it a puddle, a stream of water.
It was more than a puddle, Mother. It was like the water was high.
So I would get the car up to a certain speed and go through this water in order to get on the other side where these people lived. And we would make sure when we got on the other side, the car would crank up to get back to the side where we started from. And as I say, we would pray before going, and we would pray when we got back because we had a safe trip. Just like people I used to take to shop, they had a steep hill to go up. And once we go up that steep hill, we would pray before going. So we would ask the Lord to help us to get up that hill. We would get almost up the hill, and it was so muddy, the car would go up from one side to the other. But we always made it up the hill. And these people, they also bought books from me. And when they would buy books from me, then I would take the funds and go to the gas station and get some gas, so we would have enough to go to the next little country town.
Right.
And those people enjoyed the books. And then one lady told me, she said, you know what? I have started teaching Sunday school lesson from these books that you have sold. It meant so much to me because I was just hoping that she could help her children. Because each family had so many children.
They did.
And each one of them, a lot of times I would like to say too, they didn't have enough to pay for the books, and they would always pay with the different food that they would raise.
Vegetables.
Like corn and peas. And it was just a joy to be with these people. And now, as they have gotten old, and how now they are telling their children what they have learned. And some of these people have been baptized, and some of these people right now, they are going on to teach others what they have learned from these books.
That is beautiful. I know you should really feel like God used you in a powerful way to help others. And I'd like to end with asking you if you had to give some advice, or if you had to share some wisdom of what does it take when things are looking dark, when it looks like you're about to lose your dream. What does it take for you just to keep trying?
Well, I think it takes faith, because I remember when my oldest daughter,
That's me.
she wanted to go to Oakwood College, and I said, you were going. And my husband said, no, we don't have the money. And so he said, how's she going? And I said, what is this thing about? If you believe, all the money belongs to the Lord. And so I said, the Lord is going to see that I can make it. He said, well, we don't have the money.
And you worked at the Tuskegee University, and I could have gone there free. Remember?
Yes, but she wouldn't go free. She wanted to go to Oakwood. Well, I guess I had put it in her.
But that's why Daddy
Daddy said no. He said, you don't have the money. And I had a girlfriend that she said, we can go. She said, I can write a letter. And so I believe you know enough people, if I write a letter, that they would give money, and they would help you to be able to go to, help me to send my child. Well, with the literature program, they would give you so much money. You have a certain percentage of that money you could put
toward the tuition.
Yeah, with the tuition. And then if you came up with so much money, they would pay the other part. So to make a long story short, I received the money. I received more than enough money for my child to go to Oakwood. My husband said to me, with my second daughter, he said, what we are going to do? I said, oh, we don't have the money. We don't have the money for our second daughter to go to college. He said, oh, yes, she can. I said, oh, no, she can't. I was just teasing him. He said, if you had faith to believe the first one could go to Oakwood, you'll know that you have faith to believe that the second one can go. So this is what happened.
So the advice or the wisdom that you're passing down to others is
faith. If you believe it can be done and pray about it, the Lord always opens the doors for you to do it.